You look at your own life and feel that you no longer fit in it. It is not that things are necessarily bad, it is worse than that. It is that they do not fit. The clothes you have worn for years, the role you play at work, the posture you maintain in relationships, the version of yourself you present to the world, have begun to tighten. It bothers you. It suffocates you. And the most disturbing part is that you cannot explain why. There was no dramatic event. Nothing catastrophic happened. But something inside you moved, and now what once seemed right feels strange. If you are over 35 and are feeling this nameless restlessness, this feeling that you need to change but do not know what or where, then I need you to understand one thing right now. This is not a crisis. This is critical mass. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you what is happening inside you, why this feeling is the most important sign you have ever received, and what happens to those who ignore this call versus those who have the courage to answer it. Stay with me until the end, because the last part of this video contains something that will help you identify, with precision, what is the first emotional contract you need to dismantle to release the person who is trying to emerge from within you. Before going to the spiritual dimension, I need to anchor you in a datum that will put what you feel into perspective. Researchers from PUC of Rio Grande do Sul, in the graduate program in psychology, conducted a longitudinal study with Brazilian adults between 35 and 60 years old regarding what they call non-traumatic identity rupture. This technical name describes exactly what you are experiencing, a profound change in the way a person perceives themselves, which was not caused by a specific trauma, but by the accumulation of internal micro-changes over years. The researchers discovered that this phenomenon reaches an inflection point generally between 37 and 48 years of age, when the volume of accumulated experiences, processed disappointments, and silently perceived truths reaches what they call internal critical mass. And when this critical mass is reached, the person enters a state of discomfort that is not a disease, not clinical depression, not a midlife crisis in the cliché sense.
Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life, a guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming, with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10,000 readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who were tired of living in the fog, ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.
It is the sign that the identity structure they built until then no longer accommodates who they are becoming. Think of it as a house. You spent decades building this house. The rooms are your beliefs about who you are, what you deserve, what you are capable of doing. The roof is the image you project to the world. The walls are the rules you internalized about how life works. And for a long time, this house served you. It protected you. It sheltered you. It gave you a functional identity. But now you have grown, and the house did not grow with you. The rooms are tight. The roof is low. You walk hunched over inside your own life. And the solution is not to renovate a room here and there. The solution is to recognize that the time has come to build a new house. The American Psychological Association published a meta-analysis in 2021 on identity transitions in adults, and one of the most robust findings was this: the pain of transition does not come from the change itself. It comes from the resistance to change. People who try to keep the old identity functioning while the new one is already emerging experience significantly higher stress levels than people who accept the transition and actively engage with it. In other words, the suffering you feel now is not caused by what is being born. It is caused by what you refuse to let go. And it is here that I need to take you to one of the most powerful scenes in the entire Bible. Because what science documents in controlled studies, the biblical narrative already revealed more than 3,000 years ago, with a depth that modern psychology is still trying to reach. In Genesis 32, there is a moment that defines a man's entire life. Jacob is alone at night on the banks of the Jabbok River. The next day, he will reunite with Esau, the brother he deceived decades ago, the brother who swore to kill him. Jacob had already sent gifts ahead. He had already organized his family and possessions into separate groups. He had already done everything human intelligence could do to protect himself. And now, at night, he is alone. And a mysterious being appears and wrestles with him until dawn. This scene has been interpreted in 1,000 ways over the centuries, but there is something that is frequently ignored, and that changes everything. Jacob did not fight against an external enemy that night. He fought against who he had been. The word Jacob, in Hebrew Yaakov, comes from the root akev, which means heel, but carries the figurative sense of he who supplants, he who deceives. Jacob lived his whole life being the deceiver. He deceived Esau for the birthright. He deceived his father Isaac for the blessing. He deceived Laban in business. This was the identity he wore for decades, and it worked. He became rich. He had a family. He built wealth. But that night, on the banks of the Jabbok, the identity of Jacob the deceiver reached its critical mass. It no longer accommodated who he was becoming. And the being with whom he wrestled asked him, "What is your name?" And he answered, "Jacob." And in that answer lies the key to everything, because saying one's own name in that context was to recognize, "I am the deceiver. That is what I have been." And only when he recognized who he was could he receive who he would be. The being said, "Your name shall no longer be Jacob. It shall be Israel, because you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed." Jacob called that place Peniel. In Hebrew, Peniel means the face of God. But think about what this represents in terms of internal process. Peniel is the place where you look at the deepest face of reality and at the same time are forced to look at your own face. It is the mirror that no longer allows disguise. It is the moment where you can no longer be who you pretended to be. And here is the detail that almost no one mentions. Jacob left that struggle limping. The being touched the socket of his hip and displaced it. He received a new name, a new identity, a new destiny, but he left limping. Because genuine transformation always leaves a mark. It always costs something. You do not change identity like you change clothes. You pass through the Jabbok and come out different, stronger, truer, but with a mark on your body that reminds you forever of the price of what was necessary to become who you really are. If this content is moving something inside you, subscribe to this channel now. Every video we build here is a Jabbok. It is an encounter with a truth that confronts you, but transforms you. Subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any of these encounters. Now I need to go deeper, because I showed you that the restlessness you feel is critical mass, not a crisis. And I showed you, with Jacob, that identity transformation requires a real confrontation with oneself. But now I need to show you the root cause of what keeps you stuck to the old version of you. The PUC of Rio de Janeiro, in the Department of Clinical Psychology, published research on what they call implicit emotional contracts. These are agreements you made with yourself, usually in childhood or youth, that define the rules of operation for your identity. I am the one who solves everyone's problems. I am strong, I do not cry, I do not ask for help. I do not deserve good things without suffering first. If I show up too much, I will be rejected. These contracts were written at moments where they made sense. They were survival strategies. The child who learned not to cry did so because crying generated consequences. The teenager who learned not to dream big did so because every time they dreamed, someone cut them down. These contracts worked. They protected you. They brought you here alive. But that is exactly why it hurts so much to let them go. Because you are not abandoning mistakes. You are abandoning strategies that saved your life at some point. It is like removing a splint from a leg that has already healed. The splint fulfilled its function. Without it, perhaps you would not have walked again. But if you do not remove it, the splint that saved you will become the splint that limits you. Protection transforms into prison. And there is a story in the Bible that illustrates this transition with a force that gives me chills every time I read it. In Judges chapter 6, a man named Gideon is hiding inside a wine press, threshing wheat in secret, because he is afraid of the Midianites who dominated the land. Imagine the scene, a man crouched down doing manual labor in hiding, trying not to be seen. And it is at this moment, in this position of total shrinking, that an angel appears and says to him the following words, "The Lord is with you, mighty man of valor." Mighty man of valor, Gibor in Hebrew. Gibor is a word that describes a powerful warrior, someone of extraordinary strength, and God calls Gideon a Gibor while he is literally hiding in a hole, afraid. The distance between the identity Gideon lived, the fearful one, the least of his family, the one who hid, and the identity God saw in him, the Gibor, the warrior, is the perfect portrait of what happens when critical mass arrives. God was not being ironic. He was revealing who Gideon really was beneath all the emotional contracts that had made him believe he was small. And Gideon's reaction is the reaction of any person who receives a call to transformation while still wearing the old identity. He said, "Lord, how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family." Judges 6 verse 15. He listed all the reasons why the new identity could not be his, because that is what old contracts do. They argue against your next version. They present evidence from the past to prevent the future. And they are very convincing because they are based on real facts. Gideon really was from the smallest clan. He really was the least of his family. But God does not work with the conditions of the past. He works with the potential of purpose. Here enters a concept that needs to be engraved in your mind. In Greek, the word metanoia is frequently translated as repentance, but this translation is criminally superficial. Metanoia is composed of meta, which means beyond, above, and noia, which comes from nous, mind, structure of thought. Metanoia is not feeling guilt. It is not asking for forgiveness. Metanoia is a complete reconfiguration of the structure by which you interpret reality. It is when the mind undergoes a change so profound that what you saw before as truth now reveals itself as a distorted lens. It is the moment where you realize that the emotional contract that defined your whole life was based on a child's conclusion that was never revised by adult consciousness. Gideon needed metanoia to become Gibor. He needed to dismantle the mental structure of "I am small" to access the truth of "I was made to lead." And this metanoia did not happen instantaneously. God needed to give signs. The wet fleece, the dry fleece. Gideon needed confirmation because the distance between who he thought he was and who God said he was seemed too great to be crossed with a blind leap of faith. And God, instead of criticizing this need, supplied it, sign after sign. Because genuine transformation does not require you to nullify your doubts. It requires you to move forward despite them. If this video is making you see something you didn't see before, leave your like now. This gesture makes this content reach people who are stuck in their old identity without understanding why. Your like can be the door that takes this message to someone in the middle of their own Jabbok. Now comes the practical solution. Because I showed you the pattern, I showed you the cause, and now I need to equip you with the process that takes you to the other side of this transition. And this process begins with a question that is harder than it seems. The question is this: what is the emotional contract you are most afraid to dismantle? Not the one that seems easiest, the one that gives you the most fear, because that is the contract that is holding the entire old structure in place. It is the master beam. And as long as it stands, the new house has no space to be built. The University of Brasilia, in the Department of Clinical Psychology and Culture, conducted research with more than 800 adults in life transition processes and identified that there exists, on average, one dominant emotional contract that functions as the anchor of the entire previous identity. They call it the nuclear identity belief, and the most significant discovery was that in 84% of cases, this nuclear belief was linked to an experience before 14 years of age. Before 14. The thing that limits you most today as an adult of 35, 40, 50 years was probably installed when you were a child who did not yet have the cognitive capacity to question what you were absorbing. Let me give you the second step. After identifying the contract, You need to distinguish between the experience that created it and the conclusion you drew from it. Because they are different things. The experience happened. It is a fact. You cannot change the past. But the conclusion you drew from the experience, I am not enough. I need to be perfect to be loved. If I show who I really am, I will be abandoned. That conclusion is an interpretation that can be revised. And revising it is the heart of metanoia. It is not denying what happened. It is realizing that the lens through which you interpreted what happened was the lens of a frightened child. And you are no longer that child. And here I need to tell you the story of Simon, because what happened to this fisherman is the most vivid portrait of how identity transformation operates in practice. Simon was a fisherman. He was impetuous. He spoke before thinking. He acted before calculating. And when Jesus found him, he did something that seems simple but is spiritually devastating. He changed his name. He said in John 1, verse 42, "You are Simon, son of John. You will be called Cephas," which translated is Peter, which means rock. Firm stone, unshakable foundation. Now think about the brutality of that statement. Jesus looked at an impulsive, inconstant man who later would deny him 3 times in a single night and said, "You are rock." He did not say, "You will be rock when you correct yourself." He did not say, "You will be rock when you stop making mistakes." He said, "You are." In the present, seeing something that Simon himself could not see in himself. And Peter spent the following years living in the tension between the Simon he knew and the Peter Jesus saw. He wavered, he erred, he sank in the sea when faith faltered, he denied the Master when fear spoke louder. But after the resurrection, before the charcoal fire in John 21, Jesus did not ask, "Why did you deny me?" He asked 3 times, "Do you love me?" 3 questions to undo 3 denials. And at each of Peter's answers, Jesus said, "Feed my sheep." He was not restoring a fired employee. He was consolidating the identity he had declared since the first day. Simon finally became Peter, but not because he changed overnight, because he went through the entire process, the fall, the shame, the restoration, and let each phase do the work of dismantling the old to establish the new. In Hebrew, there is a word that captures this process with surgical precision: chadash. Chadash does not mean fixing what is broken. It does not mean renovating. It means making new, renewing from the essence. It is the word used in Lamentations 3, verse 23, when the text says that God's mercies are new every morning. Chadash. They are not the same reheated mercies. They are new. And that is exactly what is available to you. Not an improved version of the old, but something genuinely Chadash. New. Without the fingerprints of the old contracts. The Federal Council of Psychology published in 2023 a guiding document on life transitions in Brazilian adults, and one of the central points is that the greatest barrier to transformation is not the lack of resources or support, but what they call fidelity to the previous identity. People remain faithful to who they were not because they like it, but because they fear the void between letting go of the old identity and the new one consolidating. This void, the space between the Jabbok and the other side of the river, between Simon and Peter, between the hidden Gideon and the declared Gibbor, is the most uncomfortable place that exists. And it is exactly the place where transformation happens. I need you to do something now. Go to the comments and write the word renewal. In capital letters, renewal. This word is not a casual comment. It is a declaration of rupture with the old contracts. It is you saying, "I recognize that the person I was brought me here and I honor that journey, but I authorize myself to be who I am becoming. I accept the Chadash. I allow the new." Write renewal and feel the sacred weight of that decision. I want to close with the image of Jacob crossing the Jabbok River the morning after that struggle. The sun is rising. He is limping. His hip hurts with every step. But he has a new name. He is no longer the deceiver. He is Israel, the one who struggled with God and prevailed. Every painful step is a step in the direction of who he was always meant to be. And the pain in his hip is not punishment. It is a signature. It is the mark that says, "I went through this. I paid the price, and I am on the other side." You are at your Jabbok now. Perhaps you are in the middle of the struggle. Perhaps you are feeling your hip displace. Perhaps you are hearing the question, "What is your name?" and are afraid to answer. Because answering with honesty means admitting who you have been, and admitting who you have been is the first step to becoming who you need to be. There is no shortcut for this. There is no magic formula. There is no date on the calendar that does this work for you. What exists is this moment, this exact moment, now, where you are hearing this, and the decision to stop living hunched over inside a house that no longer accommodates you. You do not need an energy portal. You need metanoia. You do not need cosmic alignment. You need brutal honesty with yourself. You do not need the universe to open a door. You need to have the courage to answer when the voice asks, "What is your name?" Answer. Answer with everything you are and everything you were, and then receive the new name, because it is already waiting for you on the other side of the river. If this video touched something that goes beyond words, share it now with someone you know is living inside a house that no longer fits. Sometimes a person's transformation begins with a link that someone had the courage to send. And activate the notification bell, because in the next video, I will reveal something that few teach about what happens in the days immediately after you let go of the old identity. There is a phase of emptiness that is so terrifying that most people run back to what they were, and it is exactly in this phase that you cannot retreat. I will equip you to cross this void without losing what you conquered. Do not miss this video. The Jabak is before you. The struggle has already begun. The question has already been asked. What is your name? Answer, and prepare to receive the new.
Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life, a guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming, with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10,000 readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who were tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.